let's start off with the fact that we've seen some losses coming through on the NSE 20 over the last couple of sessions. We know that we've seen incredible rises, though, over the last few weeks. So some say that a little bit of a correction is warranted, but others think there's still a lot of value to be found in the markets, and we could still see the NSE 20 reach new 2010 highs.
I think to some extent I'd agree with you. If you look at the financial results that have been released for the first quarter of 2010 so far, a lot of them, particularly for the banking sector, have been very good, and we expect that this will continue to drive the market. Although, as you said, there have also been some disappointing results, particularly in the manufacturing sector, and so I think the balance of the weighting of those results among investors is what is expected to drive the market going forward.
We have seen a few numbers out, and of course housing finance under the spotlight, and this company continuing to gain ground. We saw the first quarter results reporting a 50% rise in profits before tax, customer deposits up 28%, and of course a lot of talk about a hostile takeover by Equity Bank.
Yes, that has been in the press for quite a while. Looking back at the fact that about 2 years ago, Equity Bank invested in the institution. But we've also seen a week ago, Housing Finance held their annual general meeting, and the deliberations coming from management and the directors was that they would work in terms of trying to add value to the business. So I think it's a wait and see as we observe what's happening. But obviously it's important to note that a lot of value coming through from housing finance, in line with what was mentioned at the time of release of the last year's results. So we expect that the positive development of housing finance will continue to grow.
Looking at East Africa Cable, because they also came out with results yesterday. On the other end, though, not coming in very good, though, 51% decline in pre-tax profits. A company that has been facing difficulty for some time.
Yes, I think one of the challenges that has been, again, as a result of the recovery of the global economy is that we've actually seen the prices of aluminium and copper going up significantly. And these are some of the raw materials that the company uses for manufacturing of cables. So that was that rise in the prices were actually affected their margins. And I think we also saw a decline in performance of the Tanzanian subsidiary. And management has emphasized the fact that they'll be looking at diversifying the business so that they do not rely significantly on the utility business in Tanzania.
We've seen some interesting numbers as well from a telecom's perspective, showing that voice subscribers have risen by 19.3% and 7.9% quarter on quarter. The 19.3% is, of course, year on year. On the other end, we know that Safaricom is busy coping with some challenges regarding regulations being changed in the telecoms environment. How do you see that playing out? Because obviously there's still a lot of room for growth, but I think the competitive environment has also been a very interesting notion for these companies to contend with.
Yes, I think it's very key that I mean the competitive environment in the telecom sector has increased significantly, and obviously that, as you've mentioned, the subscriber numbers are up. One of the key developments is the press release by Safaricom yesterday in yesterday's press regarding the perception that, particularly on the competitive aspect, that the regulations are targeting the organization because of its dominant position. And again, today in the press, we also saw a response by the other competitors regarding the fact that they favor the regulations. So again, it's a fairly dicey situation, and I think it's a question of time looking at how this will play out eventually. But obviously, we are headed for much more interesting times in the telecom sector in Kenya.
Definitely. Also just looking at Scangroup, a company that's also been under the spotlight because of the swap negotiations that are occurring with Ogilvy, and of course a lot of focus as well on a monopoly being formed in the region. Do you think that the regulatory environment is going to try and stop a deal such as this one going through?
I think my response on the one hand, one would need to look at the strategy that Scangroup is pursuing. One is that the fact that in terms of headroom for growth in the Kenyan market would appear to be not that much, and that is why the company is driven to looking at acquisitions outside of the country, and therefore we would look at it largely from a regional perspective. Obviously, they're the dominant player in the regional, in the local market in terms of the advertising business. So I think if there are concerns regarding their monopoly position, I think that will have to be played out. We would have to see that the response from the Monopolies Commission. But obviously, they are by far the dominant player in the advertising industry.